Welcome back to Dad's Garage, or in this case, Dad's Kitchen. Today what we're going to look at is we're going to do color fill on this SIG P365. It just looks so nice when you do that. It just gives the gun more contrast. I've done it to both my M&Ps. They were all black, so I did a white. In this case, what I'm going to try today is I'm going to try to do gray, since we have a gray frame, just to give it some contrast with the black slide. Don't know if it'll work. I tried red on the Hellcat because I had the grip that had some red in it, and wanted to just give it some contrast, and the red didn't work. It didn't show up on the black at all, so or very little, I should say. So we're going to try this. White has always worked, and we may end up having to go with white, but we're going to start with gray. The things that you need to do a color fill are, of course, the color that you want to use, and you can just use nail polish. That's what everybody I've ever seen has done. That is what I have done, and I did my M&P, gosh, probably a year and a half ago, and shot about 1,000 rounds, and it still looks just like the day I did it, so it works fantastic. Just pick the color that you want to use. You're going to have to raid your wife's makeup stuff, but just don't tell her. Non-acetone nail polish remover. You can use acetone, but I just don't know what it might do to the bluing on a gun, so as far as doing something to the color. So I'd use non-acetone. I've never had an issue with non-acetone. A Q-tip. I grabbed some of these face cotton round things too. You could use something else if you wanted to. A paper towel, and I like to use a deck of playing cards, particularly these plastic ones, because they don't absorb any of the paint. So I like using these. You can use a business card, anything with a nice flat edge that you can kind of scrape with, and we'll kind of show you here in a minute how that works. So now we're going to start the process, and the first thing that we're going to do is, let me get the camera in just a little bit here so you can just see what's going on actually with this instead of looking at me. So, okay, so first thing I want to do is I want to grab this acetone, and I want to put a little bit of it here on the Q-tip. And I want to clean down in that area real good where these numbers are, because we want that, any oils or anything to come out. Because we want that paint, when it gets down in there, we want it to stay. And now we're going to wait for just a minute here. Got to get this to dry. I've been shaking this for a while, so it's already shaken up, but and I think we're good. So now the next thing you want to do is get this paint, and you want to get it down in there real good. The deeper the gun's grooves are here, the better this is going to turn out. The M&Ps are pretty deep, so it works really well. Well, that is on my compact. It was much deeper than on the Shield, so the Shield wasn't quite as good as this. So we're going to cover this entire area that you want filled. As you can see, it is quite filled. Now we're going to give it just a couple of minutes here to kind of let it set. And then we're going to grab a playing card. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come across this surface and scrape away this extra paint. Wipe it off, go back, scrape it again, wipe it off, scrape it again. And you'll see there's a little residue around the number. But what I want to do now, we can kind of see we've got a start to this. Hope the lighting's good enough that you can see that. Now what we want to do is I want to come back I want to do this again. Put another coat. Usually a couple of coats is what I end up doing. And we're going to come back and we're going to really fill this back in again really good. And we're again going to wait for just a minute. Let it set for just a little bit here. I'm going to let this thing set for about 2 minutes, and then I'm going to come back. So we'll catch you back here in just a minute. All right, we're back. We've let this set for just a couple of minutes, and now we're going to go ahead and scrape this off again. And it is just a little more slimy this time than last time. I waited just a little bit more, which is good. The beauty of this is if you don't like it, you can go back over it or you can just completely remove it. It's completely up to you. All right, so now we got 2 coats on it, and this is what we got it looking like right at the moment. So now what we're going to do is we're going to grab this cotton. I'm going to let it dry for just a hair more. And we're going to put a little of this nail polish remover on here. And we're just going to gently wipe across the top to get that excess residue off. And grab another one, kind of dry it off. And there we have it. Pretty much got her finished up. Let's move this thing around this way. Let's see if we can get a little more light here on it. And there we go. So it is done, other than letting it dry for just a little bit more, but it's basically done. White always seems to stand out a lot more. This is very subtle, which I kind of like. The gray on the frame is actually fairly subtle as well, so I think it's a very good match. It makes the P365 stand out, but not ridiculously. So there you have it. That's all there is to it. So within about 5 minutes, you can kind of snazzy up your gun just a little bit. So one last little thing I wanted to add to this is after you're done and you let this dry for a while, I would go ahead and get you a little bit of your gun oil on a rag and wipe it down. That'll replenish the protection to the gun, and it'll also make the color look all uniform again, because in the area that you use the nail polish remover, it does make it look a little hazy, but that'll completely replenish it by putting a little bit of the gun oil on it. So I would do that, and that'll finish up your project. Appreciate y'all watching. We will catch you next time, and again, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Any questions or comments, please leave them below and I'll always respond. Thank you very much. See you next time on Dad's Garage.